Hello, good morning. How is everyone today? Welcome to another edition of Stamping Saturday. I'm Jen from Stamping with Jen. Thanks for joining me today. I'm just gonna hop over to my Facebook page here. Make sure that you can actually see me. One moment. While I make sure that that's all showing up properly. Because there's not much point in me sitting here just talking to myself. Where are we? There we are. And turn the sound off there so we don't get that nasty feedback. Okay, good to go. Hello. Thanks for spending your Saturday morning with me. Hope you're having a good weekend so far and had a nice week. We actually having nice sunny weather today. Normally in summer in Tofino, we get fog or cloud in the morning. It doesn't get sunny till the afternoon, but it was actually sunny when I got up this morning, which was nice. And speaking of sunny, we're going to be making this nice, bright, kind of sunny sunflower card today. So we'll be using the Celebrate Sunflowers. And also the sentiment comes from the Peaceful Moment stamp set. So this is the Peaceful Moment stamp set. Good morning, Glenda. I know it is lucky that we had sunshine this morning. Do you guys not have sun in Port this morning? If not, come to Tofino. We have the sun. So this is kind of shining there, but there. This is the Peaceful Moments stamp set. So this one is a little different from normal because there are no images in it. It's just sentiments. But I really like this. This covers just about any occasion that you would need. So there's some birthday, sympathy, thank you, and then just some general ones. You know, life is better with a friend like you could be just for a birthday or whatever. Oh, it's gorgeous there. Good. We're actually going to be heading through there next weekend on our way down to Victoria and back. So yeah, a lot of nice sentiments in that one that I really like. And then the sunflowers. This is the Celebrate Sunflowers. I'm trying to get it so the light doesn't glare off the case. There we go. This is the Celebrate Sunflowers set. And so you've got the big sunflower and the little one, and then some leaves and a few sentiments in there. I do like these sentiments as well, but I specifically wanted a birthday card, and there isn't a specific birthday sentiment in here, which is why we're going to use the other one. So anyway, that's the stamp set. And then the dies. There, so you'll discover today that some of these, so these solid ones here, cut out these stamped images, and then there's some other detailed ones that, well, you're going to see on here if I don't pick it up. Where'd it go? There, that cut out these fine details that we're going to be using both today, so you'll see those in just a second. So that's those. And then we're also going to use the Tasteful Textile embossing folder today. Good morning, Shanna. Hi, how are you? All right, so that's our card for today. I'm just going to set that up in the corner, and supplies you will need for today. Oh, I don't have my bone folder, but I can grab it. It's right here. There we go. So Just Jade cardstock. It's 8.5 by 5.5, and I've scored it at 4 1/4. And we're going to fold that over and run our bone folder up and down the side to get a nice firm crease there. And then we've got some white. There's 2 pieces. These are both 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. One's going to go on the outside this layer here, and one's going to go on the inside. So you need 2 pieces of that. And one little tiny baby piece of white. And that's 1.5 inches by 1 inch. That's going to have our sentiment on it. I've got 2 pieces of Bumblebee. These are both the same, 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So 2 squares of that. That's going to build our sunflower. And then I've got 5 pieces of Just Jade. So there's 4 of them that are identical. I know, isn't the sunflower set nice? This is one of the ones when when it first came out in last year's annual catalog, it was one of the first ones I ordered. I love it. But then sunflowers are pretty much my favorite flowers, so I kind of had to. Yes, so 4 pieces that are all the same, that are 1.5 inches by 1 3/4, and those are going to be our leaves. And then 1 slightly different piece that's 1.5 inches by 1 1/4, almost the same, but not quite. And that's going to go behind our sentiment. And then 1 little tiny piece of cinnamon cider, just 1 inch by 1 inch to form the center of our sunflower. And then if you're using the same ribbon, I've got a piece of the Jade Gingham Ribbon that's 5 inches long, give or take a little. It's not absolutely critical because it's going to fold down behind. As long as it's long enough to go across and fold in behind your white layer, that's fine. Okay, so how shall we start? Let's start by embossing this layer. But I'm going to tell you, we're going to emboss this. Do not attach this to your card front yet, because we have to wrap the ribbon around. And the reason I'm telling you this is because guess what I did when I was making it? And then I had to unstick it, and yeah, so don't do it. We're going to emboss it and set it aside. And then we'll wrap our ribbon around a bit later and then glue it down. Sorry while I crinkle plastic. Okay, so this is the, if you haven't seen this before, this is the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. And if I can get it up here, get my camera to focus a little bit, you can kind of see it there. It's a little better. And so it's just got this, I don't even know what to call this pattern. Just, I don't know, little bumps, I guess. There's probably a technical term for it, but anyway. And it just gives a nice subtle pattern to the background. So we're going to place this, one of these pieces of white in here. And I will go to my embossing machine here. And 1 second while I build my embossing sandwich. There, and run this through. Made me think of pirates running you through. Now this is a different running through. This one's fine. Okay. And get that back out of the way. And here we go. Set that off to the side. And so, I don't know if you can, yeah, you can kind of see there's some texture to it now. It's really subtle, but it just gives a little bit of interest to the background. So I'm just going to set that there without gluing it down. Okay, let's do our sentiment, because that's nice and easy. So we will need the happy birthday stamp from the Peaceful Moments. I lost it. Where'd it go? There it is. And put that down there to make sure it's straight, and get my block and my black ink. Yeah, we make those mistakes so we can, yes, I did that deliberately so I could tell you. That was on purpose, absolutely. And if you believe that, I've got a piece of oceanfront real estate for you in Edmonton. Okay. So get the black ink on our happy birthday, make sure that's all inked up, and stamp that. And this is on the smallest piece of white. There. Clean off my stamp there and put this ink away for the moment. And put that stamp away. And that's all we need with that Peaceful Moments. That can be set aside. And oops. Then we will get our stamp and seal. And this piece of white is going on the smallest piece of Just Jade. So it's the 1.5, or excuse me, 1 3/4 by 1 1/4. So just put a little bit of adhesive on the back of this guy. I've shown you this before, but just in case somebody new is watching, sometimes when you go to run this, the adhesive doesn't come out. I just use my thumb to just do that to get it started. And you'll see, probably can't see it on this camera, but looking at your own, you'll see there's a little kind of white clear dial in there. And so you just run your thumb on that until that dial turns a little bit, and then your adhesive is ready to come out again. The other trick is to flick your wrist at the end, and that kind of cuts it off. If you just pull, sometimes you get strings left. So if you just give it a little flick at the end, and then you don't get the strings all over your project. And we'll put this happy birthday sentiment on this little piece of just jade, centered. There we go. And then I'm gonna set that aside for the moment. There's a lot of setting aside in here because we want to assemble it without adhesive and make sure everything's where we want it before we stick things down. All right, so we'll get one of the pieces of the bumblebee, and I'm going to get a bigger block for this, and we're going to get this sunflower, big sunflower image. Get that out of the case and on the block. And bumblebee ink. So we are doing tone on tone here. So bumblebee ink on bumblebee cardstock. You could do it in a darker yellow or even in black if you wanted it to really stand out. So just so you know exactly where I'm going with this. So you can kind of see there's detail underneath. So I've got this kind of lacy layer of the sunflower over the solid sunflower. And you can kind of see there's some detail in there. If you want that detail to stand out more, then just do a darker yellow, or you could even do black if you really wanted it to stand out. I was going for a little more subtle effect. So however you want your card to look, you can pick the color, but I am doing the bumblebee on bumblebee. There we go. Get that. Missed a couple spots there. There we go. Okay. And we will center this on this piece of cardstock. This is a really detailed stamp. So you don't want to rock the stamp, but you want to make sure that you're pressing over the whole thing to get all that lovely detail of the sunflower. But I'm not rocking the block at all. I'm just pressing down on different spots of the stamp. And there is our sunflower. Clean off my stamp. Put my ink pad away there, and I don't think I quite got all the yellow off that. There we go. Set that aside. And now we're going to cut that out. So we'll get our dies. And for this one, we're using this solid circle, if you will, but it's designed to match the shape. Now, the one tricky bit, when you put this on your die cutting machine, you're just going to have to kind of turn this until the notches on the die match the points of the petals on the flower. So it might take you a few minutes. I honestly just keep turning until, oh, almost. So close. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, so that's all I did is I just turned it until all the points lined up. And then I'm going to put this on my die cutting platform here. Make sure it is still nicely lined up. And knock it sideways, put it back. There we go. You can skip the knock it sideways and put it back steps if you want. Those are not necessary. And run that through the machine. There we go. And there is our sunflower. Okay, and actually, I think what we're going to do is cut out these. I should have done this first, but I wasn't really thinking. So we're going to get this sort of lacy looking sunflower and the sort of lacy looking leaf dies. Thanks. Appreciate that, Glenda. I like to think I'm funny. It's nice that somebody else has a similar odd sense of humor. Okay, so we're going to use this other piece of bumblebee and put through this die. We're not stamping on this. We're just putting this die and cutting this out. And then you're going to have all sorts of little bits and pieces that you're going to need to get free there. So we'll run that through. I don't know what is with my brain today, but every time I say run that through, I think of pirate movies. Welcome to my brain. Okay, there's our die. And pick up the sunflower. So let me put this over here where you can see it. So you can see all the little pieces are still in there. We're gonna pick that up. And then I'm just kind of using my fingers to knock all those bits out. There. These ones are big enough that you can kind of get them all with your fingers. Get all those pieces. Make sure there's nothing stuck. They're all English. There are also, there we go, little dots in the center that can come out if you want to just run your fingers over. Some of them will and some of them won't. Depending on what you're wanting, you can take the time to poke each one of those out. I didn't on this card, so hold it up if you can see. Yeah, so you can see there some of these dots you can see through and some you can't, because I chose not to bother worrying about getting all of these little dots out. Okay, so now you've got all these bits. Just clean off your platform here, just knock them off to the side, deal with them later, or knock them straight into your garbage can, whatever's easier for you. 1 second while I get all those. Okay, and then we're gonna do 2 of the leaves. Obviously we have to do 1 at a time. So we're gonna run that through once and then a second time. And get that lined up there. The nice thing about not having a stamped image that you're cutting out is you don't really have to line up the die with anything. As long as it's on the cardstock, it's good enough. And same thing, we're gonna have, pick this up. I really need to get some new die cutting platforms. This one is getting scratched. There we go. And then you've got all these leaf bits that we're just gonna get rid of there. So we're left with this, and then a second one of those. And that through the machine. There. Okay. And get that guy done. And pick that up and set that die aside and get this leaf off of here. Yeah, that was kind of fun. Okay, and knock those bits to the side. And I'll get these bits out of the way. All my yellow and green bits here. There. So I actually meant to do this at the start and then forgot. What we want to do is put some Tombow adhesive on the back of all these and then let it dry a bit. And the reason I do that, if I put it on and then glue this right away, it'll kind of squish out and then you end up with glue over the front of your card. Whereas if you put it on fairly carefully, because this is quite thin, and then let it dry while we're doing some other stuff here, it doesn't squish when you put it together. So what I'm going to do is grab a scrap piece of paper. If you actually have one of the silicone crafting mats, which is on my list of things to get, then you don't have to worry so much about scrap paper. But as I say, it's still on my list of things to get. I haven't actually got it yet. But you really need one of those silicone craft mats, because then you don't have to worry about the scrap paper. You can just glue and then wipe it off, and that's what it's designed for. So be very careful with the glue. We don't need a whole lot here. I'm just going to put some around the center, and then just kind of, you don't need to do the whole flower, just little bits. The other thing that I've done before is just put a bit on my finger. Hang on. And then it depends on whether or not you're okay getting glue on your finger. And then you can just kind of touch various spots and wipe the glue on. So if that works for you, go ahead, or just keep going with this. But again, you want to kind of be careful not to get too much glue, or it's going to come squish out the front side of your project. And I'm not getting glue on every single little piece of this. That would take forever to try and get glue on everything. As long as sort of, each section has some glue, it's going to be fine. Get this Tombow's starting to get empty. There we go. Get a little bit more out there. A little bit more over here. Okay. So now we will carefully pick this up, and I'm just going to set that off to the side and rub the glue off my fingers. I'm just doing this with my fingers and it rubs the glue off. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the leaves. Again, just a little bit of glue on some of the parts of the leaves. You don't have to do the whole thing. A little bit on the outside. There. And you probably can't even see the glue that I'm adding such a small amount. That's fine. You really don't need a lot here. And carefully pick that up and set it aside. And rub the glue off my fingers. Last leaf. Bit down the middle here. Maybe. There we go. Almost time for a new bottle of Tombow. Fortunately, I have 2 more in the drawer. A little bit of glue on there. Maybe. There. And on the outside. And on this part. There. Okay. So I'm going to put my Tombow away and set this last leaf to the side. There. And then we're just going to ignore those for a minute or 2. And this, just get rid of it because it's got glue all over it. And once more, rub the glue off my fingers because I don't want glue on the rest of my project. Okay, so what we can do in the meantime is stamp our leaves. So I'm going to use this larger leaf here. And again, this is going to be the underneath layer. So hold it up so you can see. So I've stamped the Just Jade on the solid leaf and then put the lace leaf over top. So that's what we're stamping right now. Assuming I can pick up my stamp. There we go. And my Just Jade ink. And we'll do 2 of these. And you do want to check and make sure you've got ink over the whole stamp, because again, this has some nice fine detail and you want that fine detail to come through in your image. So don't press too hard on your ink pad because you don't want ink all over this outside edge here, but just make sure that all the little details do have ink. And then press down firmly. And there's 1 leaf. And we'll do 1 more. And press down firmly on that guy and clean that stamp off. And close the ink pad. I'm all about getting the ink pad out of the way. Otherwise I, stick my elbow in it or something. Okay, and I'm going to put that leaf stamp away and then back to the dies. I'm just going to put these 2 away. We want, sorry, you can't see me. So I just put those away. We want this solid leaf shape now. And we're going to run each of these through one at a time and just cut out these leaves. Okay, over to my die cutting machine here. Get that lined up. For some reason, I always seem to think it's lined up and then I end up with, one side kind of almost cut off and the other side has extra gap on it. I don't know why that is, but I'm attempting to adjust. Okay, 1 leaf. See, I did it again. That edge is close and that edge, whatever. It's fine. Okay, let's try it again with the second leaf. Maybe I'll get it better on this one. And run that guy through the machine there. Okay. And second leaf. I did it on the other side that time. Well, then the 2 of them together is exactly right because that one's that way and that one's that way, and so it balances. It's fine. There we go. Oh, and we might as well do this last bit of die cutting. This circle piece here is going to be the center of the sunflower, so we might as well grab that. And our little 1 inch by 1 inch piece of cinnamon cider And we'll run that through while we're here, and then all our die cutting is done. Get that one. And again, fortunately, because it's solid, it doesn't have to line up. As long as it's on the cardstock, that's all you need. Okay, and come here. There we go. There is our center. And I am going to set those aside now. Okay, what else do we want to do? I think maybe we'll do the inside. I just want the glue to dry a bit more on those pieces that we did a minute ago. So I think what we'll do is do the inside of our card while we're waiting. I've just got this nice little sunflower down here that we colored in. And so that's this other piece of 5 1/4 by 4. And then it's this little sunflower down here. Grab that guy. Oh, put my big, oops, sorry. Put my big sunflower away. There we go. And get my black ink back. And again, this has the fine details. So make sure, so you can move over so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Make sure you've got, I like doing it this way with the detailed stamps where I have the stamp facing up on the table and then I put the ink on, because now I can see where the ink is and make sure that there's ink on all of the little detail pieces. And then we're just going to stamp this guy down in the corner here, like so. Clean that off. There, and put the black ink away, and I'm going to quickly put this stamp away. And then we're going to use our markers to color this. So I did the center in Cinnamon Cider, the flower in Bumblebee, and the leaves in Just Jade. Excuse me, sorry. So that's what we're going to do, or at least what I'm going to do. You can do whatever colors your little heart desires. Okay, get that all colored in. And you know, this time I had some stories in mind to tell you while I was coloring, but do you think I can remember them? No. See, when I was making the sample, I thought, oh, there's coloring. I need some stories that I can tell while I'm coloring, so we're not just sitting here in complete silence. And I came up with a couple things. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll talk about that. That'll be fun. And I'll talk about this other thing. That'll be fun. I didn't write them down. I have no idea what they were. But trust me, there were some really fun stories. You would have liked them, I think. All right. I can tell you all about work at Chocolate Tofino while we color if you like. But I don't want to make you jealous of the fact that I get to work with homemade chocolate and gelato, because yeah, it might not be nice to make you jealous of that. But it is awfully yummy. It is awfully busy right now. I think everybody likes it. Oh. Apologies if you heard that thud in the background. My craft room door just blew closed. There we go. Almost got it. Oh yes, the gelato and the salted caramel sundae. Yes, we have been selling rather a lot of salted caramel sundaes lately. In case anybody doesn't know, I'm in Tofino, BC, and there's a business here where I work just a couple days a week called Chocolate Tofino, and they make all their own chocolates and gelato right in the shop. And we have something called a salted caramel sundae. That's a waffle bowl with salted caramel gelato and chocolate sauce and butterscotch sauce and a little chocolate surfboard in the top. It's so good. Sorry, can't ship that. Gelato melts. Oh, the passion fruit chocolate, once or twice. You're not supposed to eat chocolate, Glenda. Ooh, do you like strawberry, Glenda? Have you tried the strawberry bliss bar? It's actually made with freeze-dried strawberries, and there's no chocolate in it, because I know you're not supposed to actually eat the chocolate. So this, the strawberry bliss bar, it's really creamy, almost like white chocolate, but there's no actual chocolate in it. So you would not have to worry about getting your migraines. No, you haven't tried, or no, you don't like strawberries. If you don't like strawberries, that's not going to work for you. Okay, there, our flower is colored. And we are just going to use our Stampin' Seal. Put this on the inside of our card. So run this. Oh, you love them. Okay, good. So I'll try and remember. I don't know how much time I'm going to have on the way through next weekend. If I have to, that's exactly where I was just going. If I have time next weekend, I'll drop one off for you. But we're not leaving here until late afternoon on Friday, and we have to get to Sydney. So not a lot of time to stop on the way. Maybe on the way home though. I'll take one with me and then bring it, drop it off on the way home. Okay, so that is the inside of our card done. I'm just gonna run my bone folder over this one more time to get it to lie closed a little better. There we go. All right, how is our glue doing? That looks like it's good. So if you look at this now, the glue looks, there's one little smudge there, but the glue is pretty much clear. It's not white. And so that means it's not going to squish when we glue things together. As I mentioned before, if you just put the glue on and put this down right away, the glue squishes out of the lattice and you end up with glue all over the front of your sunflower, which is not so much fun. So we're going to have to do here exactly what we did with the dies. Just kind of turn this a little bit until it lines up. Is that it? Not quite. I had it figured out at one point. Oh, there we go. I know there's like a particular notch that if you line that up, the whole thing lines up, but I forgot where it was. So I just kind of turned it until it lined up and glue that sunflower lattice over our solid sunflower. I did get a bit of glue on the front there, so I'm just going to kind of rub that off a bit. There we go. And I'm going to do the same with our leaves. Oh, I should fold this back so you can see what we're working on. There we go. So I'm just putting these together. Leaves are easier to put together because, you know, line up the stem and you're good to go. The other nice thing about the tombow, excuse me, there we go, is that you can slide this around a little bit. So you get it mostly lined up and then you can slide it slightly so that it lines up exactly the way you want it. Look for the leaves that are blowing in the breeze to line them up. Oh, you're so smart, Glenda. Okay, other leaf. There we go. Get that glued on there. Okay, and then the last thing, I'm going to put a bit of tombow. I didn't worry about doing this one ahead of time. Just don't put tons on here. Just put a little tiny bit of tombow around this cinnamon cider circle. There we go. That really just years of frustration. Yeah. And I'm going to try and pick this up without getting too much glue on my hand. So I did get kind of a blob there. I'm just going to use my finger to spread that out so it doesn't blob to the front of my card. And then I'm just going to rub my fingers together so that my fingers don't have glue on it. And then drop that into the center of my sunflower. Slide it over a bit. There we go. Okay, so now comes the placement of everything. So let's get our card base and we're gonna just set this again. Nothing is glued yet. So I'm just gonna set that there and set that. Because I've got my sample, I kind of know where I want things. Oops. I've got a couple spots there where it's not quite glued down at the edge. I might go back and just add a teeny bit of tombow to that. And what I'll do for that is just put a teeny bit on my finger and just stick my finger under there and glue it down carefully. And I'm going to set that ribbon and we'll set that in place. Okay, so this gives us the chance to kind of move this around. Okay, so this is where we want the ribbon. So I'm going to slide those all off. And I'm going to pick up this white layer and keep a thumb on the ribbon there. Flip that over so the ribbon's still where we want it. And I'm going to run a bit of Stampin' Seal down the side and fold that ribbon over. And then I'm going to run some down this other side. And then I'm going to go to the front and make sure that my ribbon is at least approximately straight and fold that other side over. So now I've got my ribbon glued on either side of the back of this. This is the layer we embossed back at the beginning for the front of the card. And so I've got my ribbon stuck there. And so now I can just put adhesive on the rest of this layer and go ahead and stick it down on my card. And you can run, excuse me, frog in the throat there or something. Why do we say frog in the throat? That's just bizarre. Anyway, you can run the Stampin' Seal right over the end of the ribbon. That's fine. And we will adhere this. Got a smudge on my card front there. There we go. We will adhere this to the front of the card. 1 second while I get that placed where I want it. There. And so we can do the birthday now because we know the birthday is going in the middle of that. And I'm going to use some dimensionals for that. So I'm just going to do 1, 2, and 3 there, and take the backing off those guys. And so this is just going centered over the ribbon. So I don't have to worry about where my flower is going to be because I already know this goes here. Like that. That'll help hold the ribbon down as well. What I got on my, oh, it rubbed off, whatever it was. Okay, and I'm going to place my flower and leaves back on here. Like that, get them kind of where I want them. Might move that over a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to take 1 leaf out and put a bit of Stampin' Seal on the back of this. There, get a couple little bits on there. And then I'm just going to press down like that with my fingers so that that doesn't slide, and slide that leaf back under there. And do the same with the other leaf. Yep, there we go. And put a little bit of Stampin' Seal on this leaf as well. There, and again, I'll hold my flower down and just slide the leaf under, get that where I want it. And then I can take my flower off and we'll put some Stampin' Seal on the back of this guy. Kind of around the edge-ish. There. And now I can see what way I want my, there, I think like that is nice. And press down on that. Ta-da, we have a card. I know it's not really a surprise because that was the whole point, was to have a card, but there we go. A nice, lovely, a happy birthday card. And I really like it because, as I said, sunflowers are my favorite. So there we go, nice bright summery birthday card. I hope you enjoyed crafting along with me. I will be back. Oh, I'm lying to you, kind of. Next Saturday, I am going to be away. We're leaving Friday and not coming home until late Sunday or Monday. I am hoping to get a video recorded for you. So there will still be crafting next Saturday, but I can't absolutely promise. That's what I'm hoping. So hopefully there will be a video for you next Saturday. If not, I'll just put up, something silly for you to laugh at, and then we'll be back the following week. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Oh, thanks, Shanna. I'm glad you like it. And have a lovely week. And I'll see you, I guess, in 2 weeks. Bye.